Today, I want to talk to you about all things boating and all things Biscayne Bay. This is absolutely my passion. I'm born and raised here, been on the water, like I said, more times than I can count, and have hundreds and hundreds of stories to tell about the bay and how I've used it. So we're going to touch on everything in this video. We're going to touch on power boating, sailboating, if you want to just be recreational with jet skis, if you want to get paddle boards on the water, kite surfing, all the different things that Biscayne Bay offers us, these opportunities to get on the water and have a good time. So buckle up, let's get going. I'm Riley Smith, and I was born right here in Coconut Grove. And my boat is literally 100 yards away from my office. It's been there for years, and I am on it as much as I can ever be on it. So I'm here today to tell you exactly where we go and what we do. So first, I want to talk about what is probably the most common boating down here, and that's power boating. Power boating is a really wide range. You've got everything from little dinghies all the way up to mega yachts, all right here in Biscayne Bay, all using the same water and having the same fun there. But when you talk about power boating, there's a lot of things to think about. First and foremost is probably where am I going to keep my boat? There's a big population here in Miami who keeps their boat at home, which of course is free and a very good way to take good care of your boat, but of course comes with its hassles. You have to get a trailer, you've got to drive it down, you got to pull into a marina and make sure you're dropping it into one of our spots that have ramps. Talking about places like that, we're talking about Black Point if you're south, and Matheson Hammock. Right here in Coconut Grove, we've got the Dinner Key ramp, which is super popular. And if we're going a little bit more north, we have a lot of access to the water. So there's a big group of people here in Miami that keep their boats on trailers and drop them in whenever they use them and then pull them out. But then there's another segment also, and that's the group that is lucky enough to have their boat on a rack in a marina or in the water in a marina or in their backyard. Of course, this is ideal. I'm totally spoiled. I'm very blessed to be at Coral Reef Yacht Club and have my boat in the water just 1,000 feet from my office, so I can jump on it and go anytime. But we have a lot of options if this is the route you want to go. You've got marinas like Black Point Marina, Matheson Hammock Marina. There's several marinas right here in Coconut Grove where you can store your boat on a rack, so it's not sitting in the water and you don't have to do the maintenance of bottom painting and all of those things. Or you can get into some yacht clubs and some other marinas like Dinner Key where you can leave it in the water and pay a fee to just tie up at the dock. So these are all great options for where you keep your boat. So now let's talk about once we get on the boat. Where are we going and what are we doing in this incredible Biscayne Bay? Like I said earlier, there's something for everybody boating here. So we're going to talk a little bit about everything that you can do on the water. For me, I'm very much a recreational boater. I share my boat with 3 or 4 other people. They are into fishing, other things. I'm not into fishing, but I will talk to you about fishing in a minute. But for me, it's just getting out there, feeling the wind in my hair, taking the kids and the family for a ride, or just hopping on the boat with some buddies, grabbing a drink and sitting out there watching the sunset. Biscayne Bay has so much to offer. We always find ourselves pulling into Nixon Sandbar. There's a few other little hidden sandbars here. Or if you're really feeling a little bit more adventurous, you can run south. You get down to Billy's Point, Elliott Key, and down there you'll find a lot of places where people will raft up, come together, and we have these like floating parties out on Biscayne Bay. There's also a million little places where you can go and just be all by yourself if you want quiet time. So for me, running around the bay, finding a place to drop the anchor, get the kids in there with the toys, have like a big giant ocean with city skylight behind you, that's really my jam and what I love to do. But a lot of other people are into other things when it comes to boating. Certainly we get on our boat and we take it to go to a couple restaurants. We love to go across the Key Biscayne and go to the yacht club there for lunch. And there's quite a few restaurants that you can find. Probably not enough. That's a topic for another day. But there are some restaurants here in South Florida and on the bay that you can take your boat to, or you can go up the Miami River. So you can use it for that if you want to just get out and have a ride. A lot of people just do joy rides around. They're out just looking and seeing what's going on. It's pretty cool to take out-of-towners on a boat ride and show them what Miami looks like from the water. And of course, there's so much to see, whether you've got the port, you've got downtown, you've got Key Biscayne, or you can run all the way down to the Keys. Other things we can do in Biscayne Bay, of course, is fishing. We have amazing fishing here. You can fish in the flats, you can fish in the shallows, you can fish on the reefs. If you're adventurous, you can go offshore, you can drop deep drops, you can be looking for sailfish, you can be looking for tuna, grouper, all kinds of things. We have just about everything for anybody who wants to fish here, and any level of expertise, from the super mega sports fishermen all the way down to just taking your kids and dropping a line in there and hoping you catch a little minnow. Anything and everything in between, Biscayne Bay offers that. That's what makes this bay so versatile. You can do anything on this bay. We have so many cool spots and so many different areas that you can pull into. We've got barrier islands that protect Biscayne Bay that makes it the perfect boating place. So now we've touched on fishing, we've touched on a little bit of just running around, maybe going to Sandbars, or where you could pop in to go and eat. Like I said, you can go up the Miami River, you can go to Key Biscayne, you can go down south to a couple of the marinas that have places to eat, or if you're very adventurous, you can take the boat all the way up to Fort Lauderdale. You've got to go outside the bay into the Atlantic for that, but they have fantastic restaurants up there as well. So we've got a lot we can do in power boat. So I think we've covered that for now. Of course, if you don't know to boat, it's okay. There is a ton of places that will rent boats, whether you are very comfortable on the water and want to rent it by yourself, or whether you want to charter a boat and have a captain, or if you're looking for that party cruise, certainly you can get over there to Miami Beach and jump on a party boat. There's tons of those everywhere. So if you don't have a boat, it's okay. There are plenty of rental options. You can also rent jet skis and all the other water toys. There's several options right here in Key Biscayne, Coconut Grove, Coral Gables that you can rent boats. Or like I said, if you want a captain in some bigger boats, you go a little more north and you'll find those there. So don't worry if you don't have a boat. It is easy to get on the water. If you know what you're doing and you're a good boater, they'll let you take a boat out and you can take it for the day just like it's yours. You bring it back, you hand them the keys, you don't worry about cleaning it, you don't worry about anything else, you don't worry about fueling it up. It's kind of nice, and there are some boat clubs where you can share boats with other people and always have a boat available with none of the hassle of boat ownership. So that's something to think about if you don't own a boat, and it is really prevalent here, and it's kind of a great way to ease into boating here in South Florida. So now let's talk about some other things. One of my favorite things is sailing. I don't get to do it as much as I used to. I grew up learning how to sail right here in Biscayne Bay. I taught sailing from the time I was 13 till I was 16. I started in those little prams, we call them little bathtubs, and went to the lasers and sunfish and all of the different things until we grew up into bigger boats. And now, you can think about sailing in Biscayne Bay. They have every kind of sailing. Biscayne Bay is one of the world-renowned places for sailing. We host some of the best races. We have the Olympic Sailing Center right here in Coconut Grove. They're training for the biggest and best races. A lot of the people that I know in Coconut Grove, and it's amazing to see them all come into town for all these huge races. So between us and probably Newport, Rhode Island, we are the biggest sailing places in the United States in the winter, and sometimes even in the world. And we get to host world championships. We get to host Olympic trials, all kinds of cool sailing. So there's competitive sailing, and then there's, of course, recreational sailing. You can just get in a little Hobie cat that you can rent over on the beach, or you may own your own sailboat. The beauty of sailing is you don't have the noise of power boats. You get to take your time. You sit back, you relax. You really, really get to be in touch with the wind and the water and the waves. And it is something super special and very relaxing. Just takes a bit longer to get where you want to go. So it does require some patience and a little bit of knowledge. But if you don't know how to sail, it's not a problem. Right here in Biscayne Bay, there's like 5 to 6 different places where you can go learn how to sail. They'll give you sailboat access. You can borrow boats, rent boats, get out on the water that way. So there is a lot to help you enjoy Coconut Grove and the surrounding area and the water together. So one of the cool things about sailing, especially once you get comfortable and you either rent or you have your own sailboat, making the time and probably having like a long weekend and spending the night out on the boat. There's something so magical about sleeping on Biscayne Bay. When the lights of the city come on, but you're offshore, you don't see, you don't hear any noise, you're surrounded by nature, you're under the stars, you've got a breeze almost all the time, and it's just such a cool experience to sleep on a boat. And if you haven't tried it, I highly recommend it. Get a sailboat, get some friends, sail down to Elliott Key, Boca Chica, anchor offshore. You'll have a breeze, you'll be away from the bugs. Most of these sailboats have a little kitchenette or cabin, be able to cook some dinner and eat on the boat, sleep on the boat. But sleeping on a boat is a must. You gotta try it if you're into boating. So now we've talked about sailing. Now let's talk about a couple of the other things. One of my favorite things to do on Biscayne Bay is paddleboard. Love to drop the paddleboard in the water. Again, many places you can go. You can go into some of the canals. I love to take the kids. We get on the paddleboard, go check out the canals. I'm in real estate. I love to look at the homes from the backside, see what's going on there. So we spend a lot of time either on the paddleboard or the kayaking through all the different waterways. Coral Gables has amazing waterways that you can wind your way all the way into the heart of the Gables, get under some of the bridges that you can't get under on your powerboat, and that really takes you into nature. So you can go into the cocoa plum area, get into the mangroves, you can go up and down the coastlines, you see all kinds of things. We bump into manatees all the time, we bump into dolphin all the time, we see all kinds of things from the water, and especially if you're taking your time, you're going quiet, you're going slow on a paddleboard or a kayak, you can really sneak up on a lot of wildlife and birds, especially right up and down the coastline. So this is probably one of my absolute favorite ways to enjoy the bay. It does require a little more work, but you feel good, you're getting some exercise while you're out there, and you really feel in touch with nature. So those are a couple things that I think are really exciting ways to enjoy Biscayne Bay, and they're not very expensive. Matter of fact, once you have a paddleboard or a kayak, the rest of it is free. Thinking about now price of gas, free sounds pretty good when you're spending almost $6 a gallon right now to be on the water. Of course, we can't spend a lot of time talking about boating without talking about fishing. We have some of the best fishing in the world right here in our backyard. Like I said, whether you just want to catch a little fish or a big fish, but what is the difference? Well, there's all kinds of fishing. We got sport fishermen that are going out there looking for those sailfish. Those are the big trophies. You got to catch and release. They don't taste very good. Then you got a lot of people who are actually fishing for their own food and just the enjoyment of it. And you're catching the mahis and tunas, they're catching grouper, they're catching snapper. Those are the ones that people are really prizing most for bringing home and eating. But you have also all other kind of little fish everywhere that if you just want to hang out with the family and do some fishing. That's one of the beauties is you can fish in 5 feet of water in Biscayne Bay. You can be offshore in just a matter of minutes and you can fish in 1,000 feet. And you have everything in between, whatever you're looking for. It is absolutely one of the most amazing, versatile fishing centers times in the world. If you're gonna go out and fish, before you do so, make sure you know the rules, make sure you know what's in season, make sure how big the fish have to be and what you're allowed to catch and bring home. What you don't wanna do is have wildlife and patrol pull up on side of you, jump on your boat and see what you've gotten. So we have rules for fishing. We have rules, especially if you're gonna go out and get lobster, if you're gonna go pick up stone crabs, and if you're doing any shrimping. So make sure you understand the rules and what is in season and what's not in season and what you can take and what you can't take. Super important because nothing will ruin your day worse than getting boarded by the Coast Guard to find out you've done something illegal and you probably didn't even know it. So one of the cool things about Biscayne Bay is that it has now become one of the newer parks in the United States of America. So you have Biscayne National Park, and it has sort of annexed almost everything that we see along the coastline of Miami is inside Biscayne National Park. There's all kind of cool things you can do down there. You can hop on tours right out of here at Coconut Grove. They'll take you down to Boca Chica Lighthouse. They'll take you down to Elliott Key. They'll take you even farther down to the Keys where you can explore the waters there. But Biscayne National Park has really been integral into making sure that the park is protected, that the wildlife isn't overfished, that the boaters are doing the right things and being respectful of the grassland, the shallow areas, and or the coral reef rocks that we have. Now that I say coral reef, we should probably talk about one of my absolute favorite ways to get in the water and enjoy is to go snorkeling or to go diving. If you've never snorkeled or dove in Biscayne Bay, you are really missing out. We've got a million good spots where you can get out on a reef or you can get on a flat sandbar and you can see all kinds of cool stuff. And you can be snorkeling in as little as 10 to 15 feet, or you can get to some of the areas that you still can see things from the surface that are about 50 feet. If you go out to Folly Light, all around there, the water's crystal clear and you can see the bottom from 50 to 60 feet down. Or if you're into diving, of course, we have a lot of wrecks all over. You can go off Miami Beach, out of the Coconut Grove. You can go down a little bit more to the Keys and get in the bay down there. Spend your time in the water doing some incredible scuba diving. There's so much to see, and honestly, if you've never tried scuba diving, it's something I recommend everybody try. There's nothing like floating along, upside down, sideways, left, right, just taking your time and taking it all in and not hearing any sound and just watching all the beautiful colors, fish, and lifestyle that comes on the reefs come to life right in front of you. It is so relaxing. It's so beautiful. It's absolutely one of my favorite things to do, and you can do it right here in our backyard. The good thing is you don't have to do this by yourself. As a matter of fact, a lot of the times it's super fun to check in with your local dive shops. We have dive shops everywhere, from up north, Miami Beach, Key Biscayne, Coconut Grove, Coral Gables. They are everywhere, and they offer a wide variety of packages, so you don't have to worry about having your own tanks and getting your own gear. You can rent all that stuff, and you can get on their boats. We've done it many, many times. We've gone to wrecks, we've gone to reefs, we've done multiple dives, we've done night dives. You can do it all, and the dive shops down here are fantastic and is a great resource for you if you don't have your own tanks. Of course, if you have your own tanks, you're going to have your own spots. You're probably not doing a lot of snorkeling off a sailboat because it takes a while to get there, but you probably have your spots on your GPS in your power boat, and you know where to hit those, and it's really fun to go out diving with your buddies. So I think really, if you don't get under the water, you're missing out. There's fun and sun on top of the water, but underneath the water of Biscayne Bay and the surrounding areas is unbelievable, and you don't want to miss it. Getting scuba certified is not scary. You start in a pool. They don't just take you in a boat and drop you in the ocean and say go. There's a very step-by-step process. It doesn't take very long, a couple times in the water before they get you out into the ocean. I've done it twice now. My youngest daughter has done it. My oldest daughter's done it. It is not scary. It takes a little while. I think it's worthwhile making sure that you get the proper certification so you know what you're doing. Scuba diving can be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing, but really don't be scared of it. It is very easy, and the process is very simple, and any good dive shop is going to have classes available all the time for you to get certified. And once you're certified here in the United States, one of the amazing things, you get a PADI certification or one of the others, you can then fly or go anywhere around the world and feel comfortable and have that certification and let them know you know what you're doing and they don't have to worry about you. So make sure if you're diving that you take the time to get properly trained and get that certification. Of course, when we're talking about Biscayne Bay, we have to talk about other ways of access, not just on the boat. You can go to the beach. You can certainly get on Rickenbacker Causeway. You can go to all the different beaches that have on Virginia Key and Hobie Sound, those areas over there. Or you can go to Massahammock and they have a beach where you can get into the water there. And when you go to those areas, one of the things you have to definitely make sure you try out is getting the water sports. Whether you're getting on a jet ski and running around in a jet ski, or if you're really into extreme water sports, the newest, latest, and greatest is kite surfing. There is nothing like strapping into one of those kites and flying through the water. You see them everywhere on a really windy day. They're doing tricks in the air. You see them, a lot of them around Key Biscayne especially. That's one of the best areas, but they also do it down south Massahammock and pretty much all over. I was on Miami Beach this last weekend and the kite surfers were having the time of their lives. If you're not quite as adventurous as a kite surfer, of course, you can also do windsurfing. It's another way to get out on the water and enjoy it, and you get a little workout with both of those while you're doing it. Here in South Florida, you have to think about boating by season. We have a couple seasons, really. We really have two. We really have basically a winter season and a summer season. The difference is in the winter season, that's when the sailors are here because that's when the wind is up. So it's a little less fun to be on the powerboat when it's choppy and windy. And of course, before you head out, you should always check the weather report and see what the seas are. You don't want to get out in your little powerboat if you're looking at 7, 8, 10-foot seas. You're going to be sick in a heartbeat. So think about making sure you check all the different radars, all the different sites, all the different apps for the conditions. But once you do get that and you have a nice beautiful day in the winter, that's when the sailing is at its best because the winds are mostly up in the wintertime and you don't have those huge summer storms that come in. So you've got constant wind sailing, and that's what makes South Florida so incredible for sailing is the wind that we have in the wintertime. The second half of the season, my favorite, because I'm a power boater, is summertime. And yes, we do have these big thunderstorms you have to worry about in the late afternoon, but a lot of them stall out over the city and never make it out to the water. But you can get out in the water so much more often because the wind is down. And when the wind is down, the waves are down. And that's what we're looking for. When we're on the powerboat, we want a nice smooth ride. To use the powerboat more in the summertime, of course, the water temperature, you got to think about that. I'm from Miami. I don't get in cold water, so I'm not going in the ocean in January, even though most people from around the United States think we're crazy because it doesn't really get that cold here. But I like my water like a bathtub, so that's why I am a summertime boater mostly. To wrap this all up, of course, we've talked about a lot of ways you can use the water, talked about a lot of ways to be smart, a lot of places to go, and a lot of things to do. And one of the things that a lot of people from not this area fail to think about is, do I have a hurricane plan? What am I going to do if a hurricane comes? We all know the power, the wind of hurricanes. Most mariners are going to make you take your boat out of the water, so you need to have a place to put it. Whether you're going to take it up the river, you're going to get it dry stocked somewhere, you're going to put it on a trailer and go put it somewhere where it's protected, but make sure you have a hurricane plan for your boat. Because if you do not, you'll end up like so many of those sailboats I've seen up and down Bayshore Drive, hurricane after hurricane. The wind comes, they get picked right up, they get tossed right on land, and that will ruin your day for sure. So make sure you have a hurricane plan no matter where or how you use the water if you own a boat. So that's the real take on boating here in South Florida. That's not the postcard. We're not talking about spring break amateur hour here. We're talking about what does it really look like to get on the bay and enjoy it. If you found this useful, I'd love it if you drop me a comment and let me know which one of these things you're going to try out next and how it went. We read them all. We'll get back to you as soon as you write us because we love hearing back from you guys. So if you like what you saw and you want more videos about Miami and all things real estate related, please make sure you subscribe so you can get all of our videos, and I will see you on the next one.